How do you choose a book to read? That is an important question. So many books, so little time. You walk into a bookstore, Barnes & Noble, library. Maybe you approach your own bookshelf at home. You're surrounded by books, surrounded by choices. Where do you even begin? It can be quite exhausting and overwhelming when choosing a book to read and making sure it's the right choice. I'd like to share my process when it comes to choosing a book to read. I want to provide a little encouragement and some tips to help you nail down a book to read. I've said this many times on my channel. You will not be able to read every single book in the world. There's too many books out there. And I don't think that's a way of living. So when I approach reading and figure out what book I am going to dive into next, I get all the noise out of my head. There are many books I want to read in my lifetime. Fantasy series, literary classics. But I know for a fact, without a doubt, I can only read one book at a time. And I should only focus on the book that's in my hand. Not the books on my shelf, not the books at a bookstore, but the book that is right here. The book I am currently reading. This perspective allows me not to stress, not to overthink, not to be overstimulated when it comes to choosing a book. It helps me focus on one thing at a time. This allows me to choose books I genuinely want to read. I never want to read out of spite or make it feel like a chore, homework, feel like I have to read. I want to read because I want to read. How do you actually choose a book to read? What is my process like? I want to provide a couple examples. Recently, I finished Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. Without going into great detail, this is, without a doubt, my favorite book of all time. You can check out my review of that in the description. This took me 5 months to read, and it was quite an emotional journey that I'm very thankful I took my time on. But when it was all said and done, and I closed the last page, what was I going to read next? Where do I go from here? I took the next few days, and actually a week, to really sit with what I read. I think it would be disrespectful if I just dove right into another book without giving myself time to sit with this literary classic. And after a while, a few titles popped in my head. Blake Crouch and Shirley Jackson. But I eventually ended up on Stephen King. He is the ultimate palate cleanser of an author for me. After such an emotional read, it felt right to cleanse the palate with something a little lighter, a little less emotionally draining. So I decided to read The Shining. And I just recently finished the first book in the Dark Tower series, The Gunslinger. And then after The Gunslinger, I asked myself, what am I going to read next? Am I going to continue the Dark Tower series? Or am I going to take a little break? Should I continue where I left off with the Farseer trilogy, Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb? Or should I dive into the prequel of The Black Tongue Thief, Daughter's War by Christopher Buehlman? A lot of these questions were kind of dancing around in my mind. However, I ended up choosing the second book in the Dark Tower series, The Drawing of Three. What is the point of all this? I'm just rambling at this point. I wanted to give you a little glimpse into my reading journey and how I think in between books, how I go about sifting through all these different authors and writing styles and genres. How do you choose a book to read? It's all about questions. Ask yourself questions. What do I like? What do I love? What do I hate? What are my favorite genres or favorite authors? Favorite writing styles? What authors or books haven't I read? What kind of story am I craving right now? What am I in the mood for? Did I read something heavy and emotional and draining? Should I take a break with something light, like a popcorn book or a candy bar book? Or am I in the middle of a 14-book fantasy series? Should I continue that fantasy series? Or should I take a break? These are some of the questions I ask myself. And when I discover the answers to these questions, that not only helps me find a book to read, but feel confident in the book I just chose. I don't ever like to choose a book randomly, without reason. I want there to be purpose behind my choice. I'm very intentional with my time and the books I choose to read. Another thing that really helps me decide on a book to read is giving myself permission to not finish a book. If I am not enjoying what I'm reading, I'm not obligated to see it all the way through. Time is precious. Time is valuable. And I want to spend my time reading books I enjoy. I've yet to actually provide a list of tips for you. So let me just try to number things, because I have no notes for this video, just off the top of the dome. It's based off of my experience. Number one, you are not obligated to read a book you hate. Go read something you enjoy. Number two, if you just finished a book, take a few days off. There's no rush. There's no race to get to the next book. These books right here, they're waiting for you when you're ready. Number three, take a break from a certain genre or author you've been reading lately. Read something new. Something that may be on your radar, but that you really haven't tried yet. You might be surprised. Since I have no notes, I probably have more tips at this point, but my mind is kind of blank. I don't know how this video is going to turn out. My reading foundation has always been there. The principles I stand by, and that helps me make my choices on what books I read, how I spend my time reading, where I read. Picking a book has never been an issue for me. I just give it time. I don't rush it. If I feel like I'm craving a book, craving a certain genre or subject matter, yeah, I'm going to dive into that. Or if I'm hesitant and I don't really feel confident, I'm going to take a step back. I just give it time. I think about it. More often than not, when I do choose a book, it's the right one at the right time. Anyways, I hope this video helped. I hope it provided a little perspective shift and a little encouragement on how to choose a book to read. So the question I want to ask, what book are you reading now? Let's talk about it.